Hello, this is Jay Mitchell with another episode of the Libertarian Censored podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Censored subreddit. Let's get right into it. So first we have United Health reportedly tries to stop Luigi Mangione merch from being sold from Newsweek.com, and that's a post from Frosty Slawman, and I personally disagree with that. I think, I'm very against, things that stifle individual creative expression and the free market. So I think if people want to sell anything with merch with anyone on it, even copyrighted characters, I personally would say I'm very much against the copyright system. So I think if people want to sell whatever they make, even if it involves a copyrighted character or someone who it might not be considered a good person, or United Health. They say, oh, you shouldn't be able to sell the assassin of our CEO. But ultimately, I think if people want to sell whatever they want, they should be able to. And I think it falls under freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and a free market. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then next we have Senator Rand Paul floats Musk to replace Mike Johnson as House Speaker from Axios.com by Ninja Lover. And yeah, I personally think I think Musk would be a decent replacement. I would say, on Reddit he's currently seen as the worst thing ever, but I think he'd be a decent replacement. I personally prefer Justin Amash or Thomas Massey though, but I think Elon would be a decent replacement. He seems to be interested in cutting government. And I don't know how long that's going to hold out for, but I definitely would see him as a decent replacement. Of course, Reddit would never agree with that because Reddit's a DNC propaganda hellhole who, the TV says Elon bad, and Reddit just repeats whatever's on the TV. And, they always just repeat whatever the official DNC narrative is. They won't question anything. It's literally just, pretty much legacy media as a social media at this point. Like X is all people questioning the mainstream narrative, they can't get a little too much into Trump country, I would say, too much into the Trump MAGA narrative. But, Reddit is just all the DNC narrative on like 95% of the subreddits. And that includes this one, and that's my thoughts there. Then we have Calling Out the LAPD, posted by Donald Key, and that's a cross post from the Interesting as Fuck subreddit. And that was a post from King Scrubble, the King Scrubble wrote that one. That looks like a TikTok from the LA Board of Police Commissioners public meeting. And it looks like one guy's ranting about how bad the LAPD are, I guess. And yeah, I don't really care for the police departments. In my personal opinion, we would have private militia enforcing the law rather than public police departments. And that's my thoughts on that issue. I think if people do want to voluntarily pay their taxpayer dollars to go to public police departments, like they should be able to. But I personally think, the people should be policing the law, not the state. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, if we're actually going to shut down the government, can we actually shut down the government from Plasman 30? And they said, 1, furlough Congress and staff, SCOTUS and staff, and the entire White House and staff. If they want to need to keep working, they're doing it for free without back pay. 2, shut down the federal courts. 3, close the IRS, everyone gets furloughed. 4, every day the government stays closed, we get a tax credit since we should not have to pay for something that's closed. And this is one of those rare examples of actual libertarian rhetoric on the Libertarian Censored subreddit, I would say. Frankly, I view the term government shutdown as false advertising because you still have public police, public schools operating among public fire departments as well, and numerous other public services. It's just some government bureaucrats that get furloughed. And yeah, I personally think we should shut down the government and have it permanently shut down, and an actual government shutdown, not just what they say is government shutdown, where they just put some fences up at the national parks. No, I think I definitely think, if the government can just shut down every 5 or so years, it just goes to show you how people are vastly overestimating its importance, I would say. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Become the Very Thing You Swore to Destroy from Donald Key, and that's crosswords from the Murdered by Words subreddit. It's a tweet from Republicans Against Trump, who tweeted, Elon Musk is literally everything MAGA Republicans accused George Soros of doing. And that they quoted Elon Musk that said, any member of the House or Senate who voted for the outrageous spending bills will be voted out in 2 years. And yeah, Elon's currently the bad billionaire, but more billionaires get donated to Camel than they did to Trump, but Reddit would never call out those billionaires because they're on their team. It's like they'd never call out George Soros for how he does everything behind the scenes. Elon's just not doing it behind the scenes. And yeah, and Elon actually he seems like he's interested in cutting government spending, while George Soros seems to just, growing government spending. So yeah, I definitely would trust, I think if Elon does want to use his influence to influence the government, I think he should be able to. And if people want to call him out for that, that's fine. But they would never call out their billionaires for it who support policies that they like. And that's something you have to remember, I would say. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have LNC submits amended FEC financial report. Changes are huge. LNC now 20K in the hole from thirdpartywatch.com by Ninja Lover, and that's cautious from the Libertarian Party USA subreddit. And yeah, 20K in the hole is not too bad, I would say. Hopefully they can get out of that soon. And yeah, I definitely hope, that it doesn't go farther into depth. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Then we have United Healthcare using DMCA against Luigi Mangione. Images which is bizarre and wildly inappropriate from AboveTheLaw.com by CH4Locks, and that's cross post from the law subreddit. And yeah, I definitely do disagree with DMCA as a concept. As I said earlier, I'm against all copyright and trademark law. I think people should be able to create whatever they want to, even if it involves copyrighted or trademarked or otherwise unusable characters, like how United Healthcare seems to be treating Luigi Mangione as one right now. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Mises Caucus, Is This Your Champion? From Logotech99, and that's a article from the International Business Times. Trump calls for abolishing debt limit, smartest thing Congress could do. And I disagree, and I agree that that's not very libertarian, but a lot of people a lot of the libertarians who voted for Trump did it because they think he would give more concessions to libertarians than Harris would. And yeah, I personally have never really cared for Trump, but I definitely do think how the media's constant attacks of him are only going to make people double down on him, and that's what we've been seeing for the past decades. And the past decade at this point. And yeah, I personally think Trump's just controlled opposition, and he's just going to push for the same stuff that Harris would have pushed for if she won the election. But I don't think it really matters in the end. If voting actually mattered, they wouldn't let us do it. Washington never changes, and that's my thoughts there. Then we have Trump is all about tariffs as he leads a party that used to be all about free trade from NPR.org by FlimsyOut5563. And yeah, I personally am against tariffs, but as I've said in the past, a lot of Redditors are only against tariffs now that the Orange Man is for them. They were neutral or fine with them when Biden was pushing them, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Keep Pretending from Ragnar OKXG, and they said, right now Congress is openly working for Elon Musk, and the people are openly working for and the police are openly working for Jeff Bezos, but go ahead and keep pretending this isn't an oligarchy. And yeah, I definitely do think the U.S. government has historically been controlled by by big business, I would say. That's why I used to be a Bernie supporter back before I became a libertarian. I wanted to stick it to big business, but I think it's important to stand up to big government as well. And increasingly, big business and big government are one and the same. And that's why I think we got to get rid of both of them and get rid of the elite class who rules us and take control of our own lives rather than have the elite class govern us. And that's my thoughts there. Then we have Elon Musk raises alarms by endorsing what's known as the German neo-Nazi Party. Meanwhile, Rand Paul wants Musk as Speaker of the House and that's an archive link to, looks like a story from, it's not, here it is, the raw story. Big deal, Elon Musk raises alarms by endorsing what's known as the German neo-Nazi Party. And that's supposed to be Clorox. And he said, it's only logical that billionaire Rupert controls the GOP is fascistly in charge of the fascist movement. And yeah, I personally think this is just more propaganda against Elon Musk because Reddit's just all propaganda against Elon Musk now. It's usually all propaganda against Donald Trump, but now it seems to move on to Elon Musk. It used to be it's always who's ever the it boy currently. It was Ron DeSantis for a while ago, then it was Donald Trump, now it's Elon Musk. So we'll see who's next. And yeah, I personally wouldn't agree with the German AfD. But if Elon Musk wants to endorse them, I think he should be able to do so. They did just have a terrorist attack in Magdeburg, Germany, at a Christmas market where a car rammed into everyone. And I think that was an AfD guy protesting how Islamified all of Europe's been getting. And yeah, I personally don't agree with the AfD's anti-immigration stances, but Germany's become so overrun with Muslims. I think it's kind of destroying their culture and cultural homogeneity. And cultural homogeneity is something that I would say is, I personally think, if people do want to mix their cultures, I think they should be able to do so, but there's something to be said for cultural homogeneity as well. Like, look at Japan. Japan is a very culturally homogeneous society, and that's why they have a lot of less ethnic tensions there than they do in other parts of the world. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. Of course, Reddit would just say, "Oh, that's Nazism," but they call any dissent all Nazism. So why even bother at this point? Then we have President Musk, and that's a post on X from the Lincoln Project. Everyone knows who's running the show, President-elect Musk. That's just more Tesla man bad, just more DNC propaganda gobbledygook from the Lincoln Project, which, like the Bulwark, is just neoconservatives who are salty that they lost control of the Republican Party and are just crying about it like a little baby. And yeah, that's my thoughts there. Then we have Louisiana bans public health officials from mentioning major vaccines publicly from NPR.org by Patan 13, and they added the stupid has really started. And yeah, I personally support free speech, but, ultimately, if a job wants you to just not say something, ultimately, that's what the job is requirement is. I personally don't think we should have government jobs at all, because the government can use those jobs to enforce its ideology on people like it's doing here. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. I think we need to support free speech, but but sometimes the government will not support free speech, and we need to hold them accountable when they do that. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have this lady murders a 10-year-old boy while texting and driving, and the maximum sentence is 90 days in jail and a $300 fine from KDVR.com by CH4Locks, and that's crosspost from the Fuck Cars subreddit. And yeah, I personally think you could argue that reckless driving is a NAT violation, but I guess you could argue that aggression does require intent as well. So I guess you can argue either way if this is a NAT violation or not. But yeah, I definitely do think aggression requires intent. So I'm sad that the boy died, but you shouldn't be policing people's behavior while they're driving. I would say. Sometimes people are going to die, and there's nothing you can do about it. That is an excuse for government authoritarianism, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, as you consider Kash Patel, remember J. Edgar Hoover's Counter-Pro from Washington Post, by Patan 13, and yeah, I personally don't care for Kash Patel. I wouldn't say he's libertarian. I definitely think he's probably one of Trump's better, more outsider picks. But regardless, Reddit's gonna say anyone who's involved with Trump at all is Hitler, and this is just another example of that. And I love how they say, "Oh, Reddit hates billionaires," but all they do is constantly promote billionaire-funded and operated legacy media like the Washington Post. They hated when the Washington Post, when Jeff Bezos said, "Oh, you can't endorse Kamala," but now they constantly use the Washington Post because it just promotes whatever DNC gobbledygook they want to hear. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that issue. So I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.